Going on? Nigel here. So today I want to talk about a topic that I think a lot of us can relate to, especially if you're in the younger generation like I am, where for the most part, a lot of us graduated university with negative net worths, or may have not had a lot of financial education from our parents or from the school system. And we find ourselves in unfortunate situations where you are having to pay off a lot of debt, whether these are a combination of student loans, credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, you name it. And I think consumer debt levels within the US, I mean, also I think worldwide, are at unprecedented levels. So this is a topic that's touching on everyone. And I've definitely have gone through trying to make my way out of debt as well. And, I started off graduating, working my first role in corporate finance at Mass Mutual, with some student loans. And then along the way, I made some poor financial decisions and business decisions when I decided to go into business for myself, to start a supplement company. Took out some personal loans and put a lot of startup spend on credit cards, and also hired quite a few different amounts of coaching and courses and things, and put myself in the hole, and didn't necessarily operate these businesses in a profitable manner. So when I ended up stopping the businesses, I had quite a bit of debt. And then there was also a time period when I wasn't really working, and I stopped one of the businesses that was giving me income when I kind of quit my job, my finance job, a while ago. And I had to cover my living expenses off of credit. But luckily I was able to find my way out of that debt, and have finally put myself into the green, and now starting to build wealth at a really good rate now with the type of income that I have, and the new financial strategy and financial management disciplines and mindsets that I currently have now, that I'm going to share with you guys today. And hopefully you learn from my experience and my way of how I've gotten out of debt, and actually dispelling some of the old, old boomer ways of how to get out of debt, and, eat rice and beans and suffer. And I don't really think it has to be like that. I don't think you have to really suffer. And I actually think a lot of the getting out of debt methodologies nowadays are actually like low-key scarcity mindsets. And I was trying them. I didn't really like it, but I found a new way of getting out of debt in abundance, and in a path to building an income and building wealth that makes you feel like you're in abundance. It gives you a high quality of life. You feel good, and you can just kind of say goodbye to that debt and start using your income towards investments and spending that adds value to your life. And to start off, I want to talk to the godfather of debt. You all may know who he is. His name is, there we go, Dave Ramsey, right? Everybody knows, if you've ever Googled online, how YouTube or Googled, or even went on one of his radio shows, you would see this guy, Dave Ramsey, right? Yeah, the biggest boomer that ever boomed. You might have known his philosophy of, cut all your credit cards, and don't live a life, eat rice and beans and deliver pizzas, and you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and all this type of stuff, right? And I mean, some of the stuff he says is good, and he's really well-meaning, but however, I don't think that this is the way, at least it wasn't aligned for me, right? It wasn't aligned for me. I didn't feel like doing all the stuff that he said. I took some certain learnings and from him, but I don't know, it just didn't really resonate with me. It just seemed like a very old school, I don't know, lame way to get out of debt, and almost in a scarcity mindset. So he will tell you to, with this 7 baby steps, to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. $1,000 is not even an emergency fund. Like, we're in 2023, 2024, actually, we're in 2024. And then he would tell you to, cut all your expenses, don't do anything, don't live a life, and then go on a debt snowball. So a debt snowball is where you would take the lowest amount of debt that you have, and then throw all your money at it, and then go on to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one. And that I actually agree with. However, I think there's a key mindset shift that he's missing is with this approach is we're so focused on cutting expenses, right? Shrinking expenses, and then also we're not really focusing. We're focusing so much on the debt. Our focus is on the debt and cutting expenses, but you can only do that. You can only cut expenses so much, right? And what we're missing here is the most important factor is increasing your income, right? And we don't talk, he doesn't really talk about that. And having a better income and increasing your income is actually the fastest way to get out of debt, right? And it's the way to get out, and it's actually the way for you to build wealth in the future when you get out of debt. Because if all you're focusing on is cutting expenses, eating rice and beans, number one, you're going to live a miserable life. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to feel good feeling good doing this process. But even once you get out of debt, you're still going to be poor, right? Okay, all right, you get out of debt, you're making a little bit of money. It's like, all right, well, what are you going to do saving $500 a month? You're not gonna be rich. You're still gonna be living the same old lifestyle. You're still not gonna build wealth at a rapid rate. And so what you have to do, you have to learn how to increase your income. And so what I said is like, okay, I agree with you, right? You can absolutely increase your income and then also increase your expenses at the same rate and go nowhere. So what I say is keep your expenses level, and if anything, try to find a way to decrease it. So what I did is I downloaded this app called Copilot. Before it was Mint. There's no more Mint now. And I would go through all my transactions. I would go through all my spending that I did within the last 6 months, look at all my budgets and my categorization for the past 6 months. And I would just look at my transactions every single day and get accustomed to where my money is going, have a really good understanding, and slowly start to decrease the expenses that don't add value to our life. Because I'm actually coming from the paradigm now that expenses are actually good as long as I'm getting value from what I'm spending from. Because in theory, why would you spend money if you're not getting multiple more times in value in return? So I cut out all what I call non-value added expenditure. So anything that's not giving me value or enough value in return, I cut those expenses. And so what actually happened is actually I did decrease my expenses, but I didn't decrease the quality of my lifestyle. So I have my spending and my budgeting and under control, and I know where my money's going. So I have that. That's the first step. And then the next step is to actually understand my payoff date. Okay. And so actually, I should have went to this next slide here. So yeah, step number one, download the financial software, monitor all your transactions, your subscriptions, all your accounts. Just have a good feel of where your money's going, and then go through all that spending over the past 6 months and begin to cut out those non-value added expenses. And then now you want to find your debt payoff date. You can figure that out through an online debt payoff calculator. And the important part of this is you now know when you're going to be debt free, quote unquote. And that actually gives you a lot of motivation. You can kind of reverse engineer and work backwards from. And a few key parts of this debt payoff date is you're going to put all your different debts in that calculator, and then also how much money you're going to contribute to that debt payoff date. And so you can kind of play around and see what dates that'll be there for when you're going to pay off that debt. And then so you want to understand that debt payoff date. And then you want to have like an auto pay of every single debt account, so you're not manually making payments, so it's automatically happening. And so that's the foundation here. You're getting yourself set up to pay off that debt. But then the most important thing that you need to do is focusing on increasing your income, right? So you have your expenses the same or lower. You understand where your debt payoff is. You understand where your money's going. And then you have the monthly debt payments on auto pay every month. You want to increase your income now. And this is so important because not only will this allow you to increase your debt payoff and accelerate those payments, you'll also be able to go through this debt payoff process in a feeling of abundance. And it'll also put you in a better situation when you're now debt free. You now have a higher increase in income. And this is the only way to get rich. You can't save your way to get rich. It's just not going to happen. Like, I don't know. Like, you're going to have to increase your income. I'm not saying you have to grind yourself to a pulp and only work. No, but let's work smart here. Let's find ways to increase our leverage to increase our amount of income. And so there's a few ways to do that. You can, number one, skill up, right? And so whatever career that you're in or opportunity is, skill up to be able to earn a better amount of more amount of money. so you can skill up. You can change careers, which is what I did. I used to work in corporate finance and it paid good, but the thing is you weren't in control of your income. And so what I did was I switched to tech sales, which allowed me to actually double my income because I was actually able to be paid based off of my performance. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with tech sales, but within tech sales, um, starting off in the entry level SDR role, you can end up making $100,000, and then becoming an account executive, which is in the role that I have. A lot of the time, your base salary, right? If you're in a good account executive tech sales role, your base salary is already at 100K or more most of the time, right? And so you're starting at a good base level. That's your base salary. But then the other half of your income, of your total compensation, is your commissions, right? So how much are you selling? And so that literally changed my life. Um, and so when I got to this mindset of increasing income, I started getting more creative, and I made that change to tech sales. And by having an increase in income, I was able to pay off way more, and pay off the debt way faster than my initial payoff date. And so the credit cards are going away. I had a personal loan that went away, car loan, and also paid off, quite a amount of student loans as well. And so I was able to pay off all of these debts really fast, and then also simultaneously put myself in a situation where I can now build assets, invest in, retirement, invest in, individual stocks, cryptos. And then now what I'm planning to do now is to funnel money into a new business opportunity, which I'm building at this moment in time and planting certain seeds. And so having this almost doubling my income has pretty much made debt a non-concern. And if you're thinking about all these people online that's talking about debt and you got to pay off debt and get out of debt, the only reason to really think about this is because they don't have enough income. And so think about how long it's going to take you to pay off debt if you're not making a lot of money. It's just a miserable existence. So for me, the main thing you got to do is just make more money, man. Just make more money. And it's people don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. Everyone wants to figure out, right? If you go back to this slide, look at this. How do I get out of debt with my current salary? That's a bad question to have. Why do you want to stay at your current salary? Don't you want to make more money? And you should want to make more money. I don't know. I feel like what's wrong with wanting to make more money? Like, in theory, if I'm making more money, isn't that incongruent with the amount of value I'm giving to the marketplace? Right? Wouldn't you want to have more money to be able to give to people, right? To invest in your future, open up new opportunities, new experiences, take care of yourself, take care of your health, your relationships, have a better social life, right? Travel, see the world, do some stuff, invest in your hobbies that's important to you. I would, right? And more income can help me do that. It'll help me get out of debt faster, and it will help me build wealth faster, and give me options and the security and stability that I want in my life. And that's what increasing your income can do for you. And you don't necessarily have to, like I said before, grind. Like, you can utilize leverage by a few of these different methods. It doesn't have to be changing careers or skilling up. It could be finding a certain side hustle that you really like and that's working, or you can start a cash flow online business, for example. But really the core of it is you need to find a performance-based career business opportunity. And for me, sales was that. And I would actually recommend that for a lot of people, because a lot of the time you don't need a lot of hard technical skills. Anybody can learn sales. Sales is critical for life. You have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to persuade and sell your way throughout life. It's not necessarily in the context of business. You're selling yourself to opportunities, selling yourself to become friends with people, selling yourself to get a significant other, right? You're always selling. So for me, it was the most natural step. I did quite a bit of selling when I was an online personal trainer, and then I used that experience and combined with my corporate finance skills to get into tech sales. So that's what I did. And yeah, so when you increase your income, the doors and options just open for you. And I just like to keep it simple, man. You don't have, at the end of the day, this should be your mantra. You don't have a debt problem you have an income problem. So solve the income problem. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.